Us from London now to talk about this now is, well, he's joining us via Skype now to talk about the security situation in Egypt. Joining us is Dr. Rebwar Fattah. He's the Director of Middle East Consultancy Service. Thanks a lot, Doctor, for joining us. Once again, we extend our sympathies to you and your country now over this rather gruesome attack. But then one sticky point has been, you know, the change of tactic. What we've usually had has been, you know, Islamist militants attacking security forces, Coptic Christians, and now, you know, this one, an attack on a mosque, recording this much fatalities. What's your assessment?
I mean, the first thing, probably this is different from the previous attacks because this was probably the first attack on a mosque, on a Sufi mosque. And the death toll is very high, 305. I think it's the record so far in the hands of insurgent groups in Egypt. I understand that no organization claimed the responsibility, but of course ISIS or ISIS-affiliated organization, Islamic State affiliate organization, I am sure taking the responsibility sooner or later. I mean, there are a number of issues that must be looked at. The first thing probably is that, well, the security situation is very poor. The security vacuum is very deep in Egypt. And as we see the Islamic State is defeated in Iraq and Syria, we will see probably more insurgent groups moving into other countries, especially the countries with security vacuum. And of course, Sinai Peninsula is a region that, as we have seen in the last few years, with a very, very deep security vacuum. I'm afraid the future doesn't look very bright because I'm sure you will see more attacks like this in the future.
All right. In the wake of this deadly attack, President El-Sisi has said that he is going to respond with brute force. Could you try to preempt what sort of action that he intends to take in the wake of this deadly attack?
I think the problem is very unfortunate. The problem from Sisi administration is only security. I mean, Sisi administration treat all these insurgent attacks as a purely security issue, which they are not, obviously. There are a raft of other issues must be taken into consideration. That's not to say that the security forces in Egypt must improve, maybe better equipped, better training, and have a quicker or more speedy way of responding to the attacks. I mean, they haven't been very effective, and we also know that the toll of the security personnel in these attacks have been very, very, very high, which is not really acceptable. I mean, but the other issue. I mean, again, Sisi's statement is only trying to justify treating it as a security issue. It's not a security issue. There's other issues that must be looked at. For example, apart from improving the security forces, you have to look at unemployment, the financial situation, the corruption, the isolation of Egypt, good governing, and the way that Egypt is governed too. Perhaps Sinai deserves to be treated like a federal region or something, because it seems to me the security Sinai, we like to not face a great security situation, and with the vast deserts, I think it's quite easy for insurgent groups to move around freely. But the last attack on the mosque, on the Sufi mosque, obviously it seems to me that the insurgents are more relaxed. The way they had the machine gun, they entered, they moved around, they must have arrived at the scene of the crime, that they had an opportunity to shoot 305 people. I don't believe this can be justified. I don't think this, we can say the Egyptian security forces acted adequately to this attack. Obviously, the response from the security forces was very, very poor.
Dr. Fattah, allow me to interrupt, please. Well, we also understand now over the weekend the government indeed carried out some attacks, so to speak now, strikes, airstrikes rather, on hideouts of these terrorists, amassing a lot, a huge record now of destruction of terrorist hideouts. But then we don't see, residents of this northern Sinai province now being appeased. They have gone on to vow retribution, that all the perpetrators will be eliminated. How do you assess this finally?
I mean, I heard this before. I heard this before in the last few years since Sisi has been in power, and every single time when there's a security incident like the one we saw last weekend, or the others, Sisi comes out, say we're going to eliminate the terrorists and the rest of it, and they take some action. They as we see on television, on the media, they bomb some places in the middle of the desert, and we see in a few months' time, or just like few days after, we see another security incident, just like that. So it seems to me, whatever the Sisi administration is doing is not adequate. They haven't curbed the insurgents, and obviously the insurgents getting, as we have seen the last incident, getting more comfortable, moving around with their arms. Getting close to places they want a machine gun. They are not bombing it. They don't leave a bomb and run away. They are confident. I mean, whatever Sisi administration claiming is contrary. We will see more incidents like this, and I think population of Egypt have every right to demand a more secure Egypt for everybody, but so far we haven't seen it.
All right, Dr. Rebwar Fattah, Director, Middle East Consultancy Services, thank you very much indeed for your time.
My pleasure.